Welcome to another installment of Turn Up the AC Hot Takes with Reason on a solo edition. Fight night is upon us. Both men made weight. David Benavidez, Demetrius Andrade for the WBC Interim Championship in the super middleweight division. The winner of this fight most likely places themselves in the number one spot to see Canelo Alvarez, hopefully sooner rather than later. But and before we can get to that fight, we gotta talk about this one. I feel like it's gonna be a banger. Both guys seem like they're ready. Both guys are in shape, comfortably. Both made weight. Andrade came in at 167.6. David Benavidez came in a little bit lighter at 167 even. Now, before we continue with the main event, I do want to talk a little bit about the co-main event between older brother of David Benavidez, Jose Benavidez Jr. versus Jermall Charlo. Now, Charlo, not a good look. Didn't make weight. He was over by 4 pounds. 3-4 pounds, of the catch weight of 163. Honestly, this is not a good look for Charlo. He's been out of action for 2.5 years. Pretty unprofessional to not be able to make the weight. And then on the second attempt, coming a little bit heavier. That's very unprofessional on his part. I'm a big fan of Charlo, but personally, I'm a little disappointed in him, not being able to make the weight. He needs to, Charlo needs to, put on a performance tonight. He needs to look great because, being out of action this long, you're coming back and fighting a guy who started his career at 140. You didn't make the weight. You're coming out of pocket, to make sure the fight still can happen because your penalized, per pound. Yeah, man, like this is a big night for Charlo. He needs to look spectacular. He needs a knockout. I'm pretty convinced like he needs a knockout. And even then, he still might not get credit because people are going to say you fought a guy who's way smaller than you. You didn't make the weight. There's gonna be a ton of things that can be said about Charlo if he is not spectacular tonight against Benavidez Jr. Now on the flip side, Jose Benavidez Jr. has a lot to gain. He's definitely the underdog. On paper, he's put up great fights though in the past against world class guys. He had a great performance against Terrence Crawford some years back. He got stopped in the 12th round, but he had a competitive fight with Crawford. He went up against Danny Garcia, went 12 rounds with Garcia. Lost clearly, but went 12 rounds with another big name in the sport of boxing. So we'll see what Jose Benavidez Jr. can do tonight against Charlo. But I think, like I said, I think Charlo has to look very impressive. I don't know if he's going to look that great, but I do pick Charlo to beat Benavidez Jr. And I am going to pick Charlo beating Benavidez Jr. by stoppage. So, I got Jermall Charlo over Jose Benavidez Jr. by stoppage. But shout out to Jose Benavidez Jr. I'm a big fan of his. If he were to pull off the victory, I would be very happy for him because I like what the Benavidez brothers are doing. They're fighting everybody. They're with all the smoke, and I respect that as a fan of the sport. But I'm going with Charlo over Benavidez Jr. Now, back onto the main event. David Benavidez and Demetrius Andrade. This is a hell of a fight. I think if Benavidez puts on a performance and he's able to stop Andrade, he can be in the contention for Fighter of the Year because, he beat Plant earlier this year in March. And then, moving on to Andrade. That's big. Andrade is to me, one of the better fighters out there. Southpaw, he's very awkward. So let's talk about, what we think is going to happen. I think the first half of the fight or so could look, I mentioned it previously, could look like the Caleb Plant fight. Don't be surprised if you see Andrade winning some early rounds because in a lot of his Andrade's fights, he gets off to a good start. He's dropped a few opponents early in fights, and he's looked great early. But as the fight goes on, you know, he's unable to put a fighter away for the most part. In recent memory. But if he's able to jump out on the cards early over Benavidez, that could definitely be a big thing for him. Because if he's able to box and move around, for the 12 rounds, he could potentially win a decision. Now, what do I think is going to happen in this fight? I think it's going to take some rounds for Benavidez to figure out Andrade. I think as the fight gets into the second half, I think Benavidez is going to start to walk Andrade down. I'm going to pick David Benavidez to win this fight. I want to say late stoppage for Benavidez in this fight. I'm going to go like round 11. I'm going to say round 10 or 11. I'm going to say he's going to, do enough and the ref's going to stop the fight. But, with that being said, I would not be shocked at all if Demetrius Andrade is able to pull this off. Definitely would be the biggest win of his career if he's able to. Now, yeah, Andrade can pull it off. It's gonna be tough because if he's unable to keep Benavidez, at a distance, with with power shots, then it could be a turn into a long night for Andrade. Because Benavidez throws a lot of punches, a lot of combinations. He's gonna try to impose his will and I think try to walk Andrade down, as the fight goes on. And if you don't have no power to worry about from Andrade coming back at him, then I think eventually it could be a stoppage. So I'm going to go with David Benavidez winning this fight over Demetrius Andrade, round 10 or 11. I'm going to go late stoppage. And hopefully it sets up a fight for David Benavidez against Canelo. If not, Cinco de Mayo, hopefully September next year before Canelo's PBC contract runs out. So I just wanted to take a few minutes and drop my thoughts on who I thought was going to win the fight between Benavidez and Andrade, and also give you my pick for the co-main event. Once again, I'm picking Charlo to beat Benavidez Jr. I'm going to go stoppage. I'm going to go round 9. And then in the main event, I got Benavidez late stoppage over Demetrius Andrade, round 10 or 11. But don't be surprised if Benavidez Andrade goes a distance, and if it's a close fight. But I am picking David Benavidez for this fight, and hopefully sets up him versus Canelo. And hopefully, if Charlo is able to pull this fight off, it'll get him back on the right track and have him, making weight and getting back to the big fights moving forward. So go ahead, comment, hate, debate, whatever you want to do. We appreciate it all. This has been Reason. Turn up the AC Hot Takes. Go ahead and let me know in the comments what you think, who you think is going to win, why I'm wrong. And until next time, we're out.